All right, have not fans, breaking news. Thanks so much to Candace Tatu for passing this along to me. And if you would just follow her example, what I mean by this is for anybody on the channel, that's familiar with my videos and topics and whatnot, if you ever come across any kind of magazine article or interview with a cast member, just send it my way. And depending on, how much intel is in those interviews, I could do a video on it. And recently, Mr. Broderick, or Giovanni in real life, I don't want to even try to attempt to butcher his last name. He was in a video interview about 7 minutes long with a internet personality. And he talked about his role on Will and Grace, as well as the haves and the have-nots. And then just talked about his life, his acting experiences. And he only spent maybe 45 seconds to maybe a minute, 20 seconds on the haves and the have-nots, which is understandable because, well, being on that show, you can't really reveal too much. So you really kind of tiptoe around answering the question. I mean, he answered the question he was given in terms of what's it like being on the show and what can we expect from your character. So you can really tell by his body language that he was trying really hard not to spoil anything, but just get to the nitty gritty of Broderick, who he is. And the one thing he said, and also there's going to be a link to that video in the description below. So be aware the link should be near the top of the description bar. He just said something that really clicked my attention. And this is why I'm even doing the video. He said, look out for Broderick because he's going to be in the next season, or a couple of seasons actually. So I think he said seasons. So basically it doesn't look like we've seen the last of Broderick, even though we've only seen him in what, 2 episodes 2 out of 10 so far. So he's probably going to appear in various scenes throughout the rest of this current season, but then also into 2019. And he said something that really caught my attention. He said that get ready for Broderick because something's going to happen. He'll do something that fans have wanted to see for the past 5 years. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Me and Candace were actually talking on Facebook about this. I can't even think of one thing that I've wanted to see on the haves and the have-nots for the past 5 years, because when he says the past 5 years, I'm assuming he means something that fans have been wanting to see since the very beginning in season 1. Now, based off what we know of Broderick so far, it looks like he, has like a prostitution ring with Rocky at the Artesian Hotel. And it looks like he's trying to escalate things with a quote-unquote get-rich-quick scheme by hooking up with Katheryn Cryer and then somehow embezzling or, extorting her money. The only thing I can think of is if, and again, me and Candace kind of went back and forth on this, is that he provides Katheryn with a young piece of, I guess you could say, eye candy or whatever you want to call it. Like, she'll be his sugar mama, like Jim was kind of Candace's sugar daddy. That's the only thing I can think of in terms of something fans wanted to see since 5 years ago, because we've always wanted to see Jim get a comeuppance, because remember, he had women parading around the house. Well, Candace and Celine was something that Katheryn actually orchestrated so she can never get fired, just so Jim will have a constant reminder of his mistake. But at the same time, that's the only logical thing I could think of, because I talked with Candace about the fact that this show has either thrown away characters, thrown storylines to the wayside, or even put storylines like in a box that we haven't even opened up for like 2 or 3 years. So I cannot think of anything concrete that I've been wanting to see for 5 years. Like, I want to know about Amanda's murder. I want to know about the past of some of these characters, but that's not something that I've really wanted to know over the past 5 years. It's more like I want to know them over the past few seasons. So when Broderick said something that fans have been waiting to see for 5 years, the only thing I could think of logically is Katheryn having somebody that she can, have sex with, have a fun time with. Basically, it seems to me that Broderick is going to be the Katheryn what Erica is going to be to David. Young, fine, attractive people that come into the lives of these damaged and hurt you know, older people, you know, David in terms of, you know, how he's felt abused by Veronica and how she's treated her, their son. Now you have Katheryn, who feels the same way because, you know, their son is on the ropes, and, you know, she's been mentally abused by Jim. Hopefully never physically abused. But then again, I don't think Katheryn would ever allow Jim to put his hands on her in terms of, like, you know, a violent nature. But think about everything that she's been through in the past couple of decades. And throw on top of that, you have a young fine thing coming up in her life that she seems to want to parade around. It seems to me that she's more willing to parade Broderick around than Erica is. Parade Broderick around in front of Jim as opposed to David doing that to Veronica. I mean, basically, David wants nothing to do with Veronica. Katheryn wants to take pleasure in throwing it in Jim's face, like, hey, you're not the only one who can go around here scooping up a young thing and having a good time. But the fearful part of it is, when you think about it, we know that it looks like Candace is going to knock out Oscar, take the account numbers, and get the money from Jim's account. So you think about one of his escapades from season 1 with Candace is going to lead to him having his account cleaned out. Broderick, if successful, will do the exact same thing to Katheryn, because I can imagine that if Oscar, you know, contacts Jim, tell him what happened, Jim is going to be so embarrassed to tell Katheryn what happened. And if she finds out, it's like, well, that number 9, that whore that you slept around with, took all your money a second time. You're not getting another dime from me, Jim Cryer. Then she parades around with this young Broderick. He does the same thing to her. Now they both don't have any money, and I would love to see how that will work out. But something tells me that I don't think Katheryn Cryer is going to get... I feel like either Jim or somebody else is going to help her so Broderick doesn't do to her what Candace did to Jim. I don't know if Broderick is going to make it, because given the fact that this Wyatt situation looks like it's going to escalate further in the upcoming back half of this season, I don't think Katheryn Cryer is somebody you should be trifling with. So maybe Broderick will go the way of Jennifer Sallison. I don't know, but I just feel like Broderick is barking up the wrong tree. He is literally getting into something he has no idea the magnitude of the situation. All he knows is, you know, when Rocky was trying to talk him out of it, it's like, look, we got a good thing going here with this prostitution ring. If you try to mess around with this Katheryn Cryer, you know, it's probably going to blow things out of the water and ruin everything. And Broderick's like, man, it'll be easy. Look, I mean, that asshole out there for a husband? Come on. I can tell she's unhappy. So literally he's preying on the weak, so to speak, but he has no idea. Now, if this was like season 1, season 2 Katheryn Cryer, I could probably see her being swept up in this. But the current Katheryn Cryer, this new warrior like Katheryn Cryer we have, I don't think so. But remember, Katheryn is not opposed to doing anything to just rub Jim the wrong way. You know, she walked in on him and Gia, and she knew about Candace. So I don't think that it will be that difficult for Broderick to, woo Katheryn, because I feel like Katheryn would be willing to do so just to throw it in Jim's face. So in terms of what Broderick has planned, what Giovanni said when he stated he's going to do something that fans have been wanting to see for 5 years, the only logical thing I can think of is something involving Katheryn, and then Jim being on the other side of the window, if you will. Like, you know, Katheryn and Broderick get a house. Broderick moves into Katheryn's new house, and then Jim is pulling a Veronica, looking through the window and just wondering what the hell's going on. So with that being said, you know, I definitely suggest checking out the link below. As I said, it's the have and have not bit that he talks about is within the first 1 to 2 minutes, so it's not terribly long. Seems like a really cool guy. I love the accent. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. In terms of Broderick's character, are you excited that he's going to be appearing in what seems to be the next couple of seasons? So we can assume up until, you know, late 2019, maybe early 2020, when his character either exits the show via being killed or he goes to jail, or will he be in there for the long run and make it all the way to 2020? And what kind of situation do you think he has planned in which he'll pull off something that fans have been wanting to see for the past 5 years? So as always, thanks so much for tuning in. If you watch this video around this weekend, happy Easter to you and the family, and I'll talk to you later.